That's right, you bet it is. Orange and blue today. Cecil, Lammey, Andrew Mason, Denver Broncos dealing with the noise, Mace. At 8-2, you think there would be less noise, but no, no, no. Plenty of question marks surrounding Bo Nix and the Broncos offense.
Well, when you've had 2 consecutive games in the teens, when you have 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games, when you've really had you've had 5 quarters of terrific offense and then 15 quarters of shaky offense in the last 5 games, it stands to reason. Like, there are consistency issues for this offense. The team is winning, but questions persist.
Questions abound, and well, we've got our answers. I'm not saying it is the answer, but yeah, how do we get to the bottom of this? How will they look against the Kansas City Chiefs? All that and more on today's program. We welcome you in to another edition of Orange and Blue Today. Cecil, Lammey, Andrew Mason, and you love the way that Bo Nix is able to handle the pressure, Mace, because there's a lot of pressure on this young man, and maybe it makes for a boring press conference, I'll admit, but he's always right here. He's never really too high. He's never really too down on himself. He's always right in the middle.
I mean, isn't that kind of what you want? You want your quarterback on an even keel. You don't want him.
Right?
Yeah. You don't want him like a seismograph in an earthquake. I mean, you don't want him bouncing up and down, up and down, up and down. You want him like this. Now, that being said, you don't want him to be like a cyborg up there, right, answering questions. You want him to be authentic, and you want him to be himself, and you want him to be real, because that was an issue with the previous starting quarterback getting up there, and you weren't sure where the humanity was when he was answering questions. But you do want him to be even, to take success and failure and not get too high when things are going well, but not get too down, and just basically at minimum keep the noise down. Like, there's so much chatter, and it comes with being a quarterback in the NFL. You're going to be the flashpoint of all sorts of conversation. People, you could argue that Bo Nix at this moment is the most visible person in the state of Colorado right now.
Yeah.
Maybe not the most famous person in the state of Colorado, because you might say that's probably Peyton Manning still, right? But again, that's a Broncos quarterback, and you might say in the top 5 most famous people in Colorado to this day is still John Elway, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. He's still the king of the mile high. By the way, super, super quick, Mace, and I hate to do this during the show. Just make sure your mic is, sounds like your external mic. I may be wrong, but the chat room's like, Mace's volume's high. So,
okay.
Oh, there we go. Hey, look at that.
How's that?
You sound perfect.
Okay.
That's a beautiful microphone.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
It wasn't John Elway, though, king of the mile high, and Mason and I are king of the microphones. I don't know.
Yeah.
Princes,
all that. So.
All that and then some. Bo Nix is handling it, man, though, and it's something where he's got a certain way about him, and he is fiery. That's the thing, because you bring up Russell Wilson and the fakeness that there was in with Russ. You and I saw that, but that was years ago at the Senior Bowl. But, like, we've seen Bo get after Sean. So we know that fire is there. So it's not necessarily the robot thing. It's just real even-keeled. But there's a point, man. There's a line. Dare I say, like Marty, there's a gleam, gentlemen. Like, there's a line with Bo that you don't cross, and him and Sean kind of dance that sometimes.
And that's a healthy thing, and I think that's what Sean Payton wants. He wants Bo to come back at him with some fire. He doesn't want him to stand there and take it and have no reaction. But you also, the thing is, in the press conference environment, you don't want the quarterback to be, you don't want it to be sniping. Like now, you want, you do want reality and you do want authenticity. And, I think you saw it at the Senior Bowl when you brought up the idea of,
Working
Bo
from
having
under
some
center.
issues under center, and he quickly came back at you with a counter to that. And I like that sort of fire, but it's not like he wasn't nasty about it.
No.
He was real. Like he basically is like, hey, this isn't, hey, I've got this, right? Like it was cordial, but it was forceful. That's what you're talking about, right? And
Supreme confidence, right?
Yes.
He knows what he can do. He knows what he needs to do, and he feels like he can do it.
yeah,
You're not rattling that guy.
yes, and that's the attitude you need to see from the quarterback. Just don't let things. You don't want him to be phased, because here's the thing: if the QB is phased at a press conference, what are the chances of him holding up when he's out there under a rush on Sunday?
Right.
Like the press conference, frankly, that's the easy part of what he does.
Probably annoying too for him.
Yeah.
It's good for us. We get to hear from Bo Nix, but he gets to talk to us and tell us about his slow heartbeat and
Yes.
dealing with that pressure.
And he gets to talk about how he keeps the noise down. Like, all sorts of stuff said on social media. I mean, and this is the other thing now. It's not, back in the day, it was just what was written in the newspapers, what was said on television, what was said on the radio, whether it was by the hosts or whether it was people calling in. But things were a bit more filtered. Now, anybody can say whatever, and all they have to do is at you on Instagram or Twitter/X or whatever, and you might see it, right? So
Yeah.
there's greater access there. So conceivably, anyone out there can throw something there, and the athlete can see it. You have that connection potentially to where it can be seen. So how do you, as a quarterback, how do you keep that noise down? Well, Bo Nix talked about how he avoids all that noise when he is as part of a very lengthy. By the way, this was a Sean Payton length answer that he gave, because it was about 3.5, 4 minutes in the end. Here's about 84 seconds of it dealing specifically with just how he keeps the noise down.
But for me, it's quite simple, really. I delete all my social media. I don't even have it. So unless somebody says it to my face, I don't really hear it. And nobody's ever bold enough to say it to your face. So really, I don't get on social media. There was a time to where it was early on in my career at Auburn. We were undefeated. We went to Florida and we lost, and that's when I really actually got to know the bad side of this sport. And it's unfortunate for sure, but at the same time, it's what comes with the territory, and it's also a gift because it allows other people to see how you respond to adversity. And there's a lot of younger kids out there. There's a lot of people who want to be in our shoes. They want to grow up and be, just like us, and hopefully they're better. But it's good for them to see that not everything's pretty, not everything's happy-go-lucky. It definitely doesn't go like you planned. If it was like I planned, I would have won every national championship in college. We would have won the Super Bowl last year, and we'd be undefeated right now. But unfortunately, the other team is trying to do the same thing. So life's not about being fair. You're going to go through ups and downs. You're going to be faced with adversity, and honestly, a lot of people aren't going to like you.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like the way he finishes that, where we cut it off because he went on. But a lot of people aren't going to like you, Mace. Are you going to let it bother you?
Yeah.
That's life, by the way. That's not just football.
Yeah. Some people aren't going to like you. A lot of people aren't going to like you. Like,
My friend
it
doesn't
is what
like
it
you
is.
either.
I would say this, like, if you're in the public eye and everybody likes you, maybe you're not doing it right, honestly. Like,
You know what Big Al always used to tell me? And
yeah.
it's not about us, but we have plenty of people that like us or don't like us. Now thank goodness Logan here in the chat says, I love these two, just facts,
Yeah.
no rose colored glasses. We appreciate you all. But Big Al told me years ago, you don't want everyone to like you. You want everyone to react to you.
Yeah. That's true. That's actually a good point. Like, because if you don't elicit a reaction, that means you're not
doing anything.
you're not doing anything that people care about, right?
Good point.
Yeah. Like and I mean, not that you want it to be negative. Like I don't think you want to be the kind of person that where everything just where you're doing it just to create a negative reaction. I
Right,
don't like
right,
that at
right.
all. You know, that you're just doing it to be a provocateur and you're trying to needle and provoke. I don't that I have to admit I can't stand. Like, so
It's annoying. It's frustrating.
yeah. I mean, take that as you will.
And Bo isn't seeing it, and
Yeah.
that's the nice thing is that now his family may be, and it's like, okay, family, don't tell him.
Yeah.
But he knows that the thing is, like, Sean Payton knows football. He's got more about it than you and I know. And Bo Nix knows he needs to play better.
Yeah.
Nothing that we're going to say. I'll even put it, because I was going to ask him about, like, Chase Daniel and Dan Orlovsky. I didn't know how to quite craft it and whatever. Ran out of time. But,
Yeah.
like, when a former quarterback says something, it's nothing that it's not like Bo's going to listen to Chase Daniel and be like, oh, yeah, I do need to climb the pocket. He already knows that.
Sean's telling him that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Sean's telling him in his own Sean way.
I mean, the one thing you can say about if someone like Chase Daniel is saying it, then probably Sean is telling him something similar. Because where did Chase Daniel learn a lot about quarterbacking at a pro level? From Sean Payton. Yeah. That is one reason why what Chase Daniel said last week probably was to be taken pretty seriously about what Bo Nix was doing. That was why I think Chase Daniel's comments probably certainly deserved some arching of eyebrows regarding Bo Nix.
Gravitas to
Yes,
them.
that had some weight.
Mm-hmm.
Just given his background with Sean Payton, he has a better idea of what Sean Payton is looking for than almost anybody walking the earth. So, if he sees something going askew with Bo Nix, that means Sean Payton probably sees the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So Chase Daniel's eyes are probably the closest in terms of quarterback analysis. Chase Daniel's eyes are probably the closest out there to Sean Payton's eyes. So that was to be taken seriously, I think. And then one of the reasons I put the numbers I did out there a few days ago is just to sort of say, okay, it's not just a film thing; it's a data thing as well. Like when the film and the data cross over on the Venn diagram, that's when I think that's when I think you really have something to talk about. Like if you've got like data saying one thing and you have film saying another, I think you can kind of say, all right, then maybe it's not all that. You can kind of maybe dismiss some of it, but when data and film are showing the same thing, and they're showing the same issues, and then it's saying and the problems are the same, and it's showing the same problems, then it's like, okay, it's something that you have to confront here, right? And that's why I thought it was interesting, like when you had the actual data showing the deep ball inefficiency. It's like, okay, fine. The data is there. The data is there. The film is there. Like, all right. What more do you need here to say that clearly this is a year two, that there is a year two, whatever you want to call it, decline, regression,
slump,
sophomore slump, whatever term you want to use, that the production is not matching what it was in his first year. Now, does that mean he's done? No, it doesn't mean he's done. It doesn't mean he's doomed. And it doesn't mean you should say, oh, well, the Broncos have to go looking for a quarterback. No. I mean, we're in week 10 here, okay? There's 7 games left in the regular season, and barring a disaster for this team, there's a lot more football going into January, okay? Like, this novel ain't completed here on the season, all right?
Right.
There's a lot left to go.
What's funny, Mace, is I was just going to say chapters, and then you brought up the novel. I mean, it's part of his story. We're just in this chapter. It doesn't mean the next chapters are going to be the exact same.
You know what? I mean, we're talking about a progress report here, but we ain't giving the grade right now. Okay? Mm-hmm. We're not at the final exam here. That's down the line. But sometimes you get the progress report, like you then say, okay, well, if you want to get that grade where you want to be at the end of the term, you gotta pick it up here in the second half. You gotta do this. You gotta work on this. Here's where you need to improve. That's where I was on with Richie Carney on the rundown earlier today. I talked about footwork, and I think I use your old quote, but I've heard it as well. Feet lead the eyes. But where is it going wrong? Where is the deep ball inaccuracy coming from that the numbers reveal? I mean, I think it's obvious when you watch the feet when he's going deep and he has a clean pocket, the footwork isn't clean. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, and it's up to him to clean it up, and he already knows that he's going to do that. But it's something, his mannerisms, Mace, throughout that locker room, and you're in the locker room more than I, but like those guys know it as well. Yeah, and I think that's infectious. You know what I mean? Teams take on the personality of either their head coach or their quarterback, or the head coach has got a hell of a personality.
Yeah.
But Bo Nix's personality is something that his teammates, even the veteran guys, notice.
Yeah. And that personality is look, things may not be going well at various points in the game, but I'm not deterred. I'm not phased. And as long as there are snaps left in the game and ticks left on that clock, we can overcome this. We can get out of this. And to use the Sean Payton quote, confidence comes from demonstrated ability. Well, they have the demonstrated ability to come back because they have come back against the Giants, against the Texans. A little bit of a, not so much a comeback against the Jets, but they were trailing in the fourth quarter and they did rally. And so it's the sort of thing that if you listen to Mike McGlinchey talk here, it's, it's what infuses the confidence that the Broncos on offense in that huddle have in Bo Nix.
Well, I think just his competitiveness and his toughness. It's hard as a young player in this league, especially I've never felt the feeling of being the quarterback for the team, but I can imagine it's about whatever everybody else feels. It's about 10x multiplied. And so it's hard to have success in this league, and because all that means is that you're ready for more. And so when the whole town's waiting for you to have more, when yourself is waiting for you to have more, those things start. It just gets a little stressful, right? But he doesn't ever let that affect him. He doesn't listen to all that. He's so tough. He's so competitive. All he cares about is winning ball games, and that's what we've been doing. And as he keeps going through this, we'll find ways to improve. But we're not apologizing for being 8-2. I don't care what anybody says about our offense. I don't care what anybody. We're winning ball games, and we're doing it when it matters. And we're going to continue to try to improve, and that's all that matters. And Bo is the only guy that we want leading us doing it.
I love that. It's a
Yeah.
results-based business, Mace. They're 8-2.
Yeah.
Results are pretty damn good.
I mean, if you're winning games while you're trying to figure things out, that's great. Now that being said, this has to be weighed with what McGlinchey and Adam Troutman and J.K. Dobbins were saying after last Thursday's game, that the offense has to step it up, and the acknowledgement of guys over the last few weeks, even using words like unsustainable, saying like
Right.
they know that there's a point at which this style of play, that the sand's going to run out of the hourglass. They know it, but they are 8-2. And as to go back to, and you know, to go back to something I've said, like those are 8 acorns that they can't take away from you. You're in very good shape to be in the playoffs. Very good shape to have the second season. And oh, by the way, you have this game to where if you lose on Sunday, the sky isn't falling. I mean, it'll hurt, it'll be frustrating, but you've still got it all there in your grasp, in your hands. It's all there for the taking. The AFC West, multiple home games in the playoffs. It's all still there for the Broncos, even if they lose this game on Sunday, because they've got those 8 acorns already stored away.
Yeah, KK in the chat room says Sunday is a midterm, though. And I
Yeah.
think the thing is, Mace, when we look at this, I won't get too crunchy. Although I got a headband on, so you know I'm getting crunchy. When I look at just this team, I go, every game is a lesson. And I will ask you something that I've never asked you before, and I'm fascinated by your answer, because it's merely this, and I don't know my answer yet. So let's talk about this, baby. The win streak that they had with Russell Wilson, and when the defense was getting all those turnovers, right? And we're like, okay, that doesn't seem like it can sustain. And I'm not saying they're going to win out the rest of the year, but we have a win streak now, but it's kind of like not everything's bounced. Not all the balls are bouncing their way, and they have a win streak.
Yeah.
So just to juxtapose those two feelings for me about what they were then when people got excited. Hell, I got excited, about the team winning with Russell Wilson and the way they were winning compared to now and the way they're winning. This feels more real to me.
Well, it feels more real also because they're doing it based off of a playoff season they had last year too. Yeah. That's another thing. Remember, they had that win streak coming off of a 1-5 start and a 5-12 season the year before, preceded by 5 losing seasons before that 5-12 season. So it felt like an aberration. This is a 7-game winning streak that came after a 10-7 season. This feels like something to which this team has built, right? Because they've gone from 8-9 to 10-7 to now a 7-game winning streak. So it feels like a natural part of the progression. If they do have a defeat here, it doesn't feel like it's something that's going to completely knock them off kilter. It feels like something that would be a correction to get them on track and set them up for what could be a very successful stretch run. To me, that's what, if they lose a game like this, or they lose a game or two in December, to me it feels like something that whips them into shape and reminds them, all right, yeah, that wasn't sustainable. What do you do now? What's your adjustment? How do you get right to really be the team that you should be, to reach that goal that you set of being a Super Bowl team that you thought you could be back when training camp started?
I love it. I love it. Every day's a lesson. Every game's a
Yeah.
lesson, and they're there to learn, and they have stuff to learn. Like that's
Yep.
and there's a point in this season where I'll believe they'll need that reset, Macy. We were talking about this in the lobby today about the Super Bowl teams for the Broncos had something in
Uh-huh.
common that I didn't even realize.
Yep. I'll happily tell you. Every Broncos World Championship team had a 2-game losing streak in December.
Two of them,
Every single one lost 2 consecutive games in December of the season they won titles. The 97 team did. The 98 team did. The 97 team lost to Pittsburgh and San Francisco back-to-back. The 98 team lost to the Giants and the Dolphins back-to-back. And the 2015 team lost to the Raiders, that game where they led 12-0 at halftime and dominated, but they settled for field goals. And I remember at halftime saying, oh, that's going to come back to haunt them because they ain't cashing on their opportunities. And lo and behold, it did come back to haunt them, the game where Khalil Mack ate poor Michael Schofield's lunch.
Ugh.
And then the next week, they went to Pittsburgh and lost. And then Gary Kubiak basically gave them the come to Jesus speech the next day when they were in the team meeting room. So, yes, every Broncos world champion had a 2-game losing streak in December. And in all 3 cases, I think it was the best thing that happened to them, because it got them on track. Sometimes you can be feeling too good going into the playoffs. Think of the 2012 team. They were 2-3 at the start of the season, and then they won 11 in a row to close the year. They didn't lose, and then they went one and done in the divisional round in that heartbreaking loss to Baltimore. Sometimes I think you can feel too good going into that postseason. And then the other thing that can happen is the 96 team, of course, had things wrapped up too soon of going into the playoffs. They had things wrapped up, and then they dialed it down. Remember, the 98 team, they had things wrapped up, but
They were undefeated, weren't they?
They were undefeated, and so they were playing for something. Then they lost the Giants. Then they lost the Dolphins. But if you remember, that game in Week 17 that year, they were playing for Terrell Davis to get 2,000 yards.
Yes.
So even though they were wrapped up seeding wise, they were playing for something that meant a great deal to them, which was getting TD his 2K. And so that got them on point. They didn't have the throttling back of 96, right? They had something to kind of keep them on mission there in that last game that got them back on track. And then in the 98 playoffs, of course, they had the bye, but after that game against Seattle in Week 17, that got them back on track. And then the 98 playoffs, they were quite ready to roll, and they absolutely destroyed Miami when the Dolphins came in for the divisional round.
Yeah, they were quite unstoppable. Hopefully they can build and build and build this year. Let's hear a word from our sponsor, and when we return, some running back talk to wrap up today's show. It's Orange and Blue Today. Here's Ramos Law. Today's episode of Orange and Blue Today is presented by Ramos Law, the official injury law firm partner of the Denver Broncos. Ramos Law was founded by Dr. Joseph Ramos, an attorney and ER doctor, to provide exceptional care to those injured in accidents. With a unique understanding of both medicine and law, the Ramos Law team is built to fight for you every step of the way. Experience the Ramos Law difference. Contact them today at ramoslaw.com. Sean Payton didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Kind of figured that was going to happen, right?
Yeah. That's the coach.
Mm-hmm.
Especially about injuries, he's not going to say anything.
No, not going to say anything. So we have some J.K. Dobbins discussions. They seem to have confidence in R.J. Harvey. And then, Mace, I'm always curious why people say what they do when they say it. Mm-hmm. Sean Payton brought up Jaleel McLaughlin unprompted.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying Jalil's even going to get a jersey. But when he brought up Jalil McLaughlin unprompted, that guy's chomping at the bit.
Well, that was the phrase he used. Was chomping at the bit, right? That he actually said those words. And J.K. Dobbins was not on the practice field Wednesday. That wasn't a surprise. This, by the way, we've gotten used to seeing other teams with the lengthy injury report compared to the Broncos. In this case, it was the Broncos with the lengthy injury report. There was only one Chiefs player who was a DNP on Wednesday, and that was Isaiah Pacheco, your guy. The Broncos with 6 DNPs for practice on Wednesday. Nate Adkins, J.K. Dobbins, of course, the aforementioned Dobbins, Jonah Ellis, Trent Sherfield, Alex Singleton, and Pat Surtain. So Jonah Ellis, of course, injured his hamstring last week. Trent Sherfield, a toe injury, and that kept him sidelined. And I think Trent Sherfield probably is why you saw the Broncos bring back Lil Jordan Humphrey, plucking him off the Giants practice squad today. If you love someone, set them free. If he comes back, it was meant to be.
Okay. Yes.
Lil Jordan Humphrey coming back. Sean Payton does not know how to quit Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Was that Sting? Who the hell sang that, Mace? Free, free, set them free. Set them free.
That was
free.
that was Sting when he went solo after the police broke up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yes. Can't quit Lil Jordan. Just can't.
May I say something?
I'm going to say something. I got to say something first, though.
Sure.
I will be very disappointed if Lil Jordan takes snaps from Pat Bryant.
Well, here's my comment, Mace, and you can play off of this, and maybe we can talk about it tomorrow. I do have a hard out here in 5 minutes, as you know about, but we'll get to that. Is Lil Jordan Humphrey actually going to play tight end? And I say this merely because look at that, Mace. Look at that, Mace. Look at it, Mace. I say it because look at how Sean McVay actually uses Puka Nacua as a tight end. Now, Lil Jordan and Puka Nacua should not be in the same sentence together. But if you use LJH as a blocker, how did Buffalo beat Kansas City? They did it with 3 tight ends, and they ran the hell out of the ball to the jumbo side. Could LJH actually be declared as a tight end?
Well, you don't have to declare him; you just have him as a tight end.
Your influence,
yes.
Declaration.
I know. I'm just like declaring pre-snap. Like,
you like it, don't you?
Well, I just don't want to see Pat Bryant lose snaps because
and that's
he's
a way
coming
to
along.
get him to not lose snaps. Is you have LJH as your 3rd tight end.
I want to see Pat Bryant play more. To be perfectly frank,
see Pat Bryant play
yes.
more. That's a must-have.
I personally would not be surprised if Pat Bryant is like your wide receiver 2 next year.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
But we talked about Evan Ingram's drop rate.
Mercedes Lewis is making a bunch of mistakes. Love the guy, but
but
that's what happened.
Penalties, like. And he's down to his last elevation.
You're right. Yep.
He's only got 1 practice squad elevation left. So that's interesting. Okay, yeah. Did you just come up with that, or have you been thinking about that for the last couple of hours?
I didn't say it on the air today because I saved it. I saved it for you, brother. I wanted to dice it up.
Oh, thank you. I'm flattered.
Yeah, because I love talking ball with you, man. We do it off air so much. It's a joy, and I'm glad we get to bring some of that here because I think it's a great idea. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it is spicy.
He knows the offense, and that's the thing. Because he's been here, they're just going to plug him right in, and he'll probably play on Sunday. But yeah, Lil Jordan, he's back.
When I thought it was out, you pulled me back in.
They're never going to let him go again. I'm never letting you go again. You can't leave. You can't leave.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, find someone who loves you the way Sean Payton loves Little Jordan Humphrey.
And the way he looks at him. Hey, he played 52% of the snaps last year. Do not think he will be an insignificant part.
Absolutely wild. Again, that's why, and that's the thing. Like, I get why he's back. I just don't want to see him hinder the growth of Pat Bryant, and that's the one thing I have a little concern here. I don't want to see Bryant's progress hindered in any way, shape, or form. That's the thing. Because he's coming along nicely, and he's becoming a devastating blocker out there. Pat Bryant has done nothing to deserve having his playing time reduced. So, anyway.
Super quick, and again, I apologize to everyone because I have a heart out in a minute. We do have the chat room saying PS2 is playing William. William, we can't tell you if he's playing or not. I would just guess the answer is no.
He wasn't out there today. That's the thing. He was a DNP today, and my instinct would be that they probably are going to be cautious with him. And this is part of what you can do when you have a 2.5 game lead in the division is you can be cautious. If you trail by 2.5 games, I think it's a different mindset. 2.5 game lead, I think discretion may end up being the better part of valor here.
It may be. Better part of valor is watching Orange and Blue today. I don't know. Some transitions are better than others. We are OBT. We appreciate everyone out there for watching. Even if you make fun of my headband, I'm like Bo Nix. Doesn't bother me, baby. Doesn't bother me. Maybe Bo Nix will wear a headband. You never know. But he's Andrew Mason. I'm Cecil Lammey. We love talking to y'all. Mace, we love them helping out our YouTube channel. How can they do that?
Like,
comment,
share,
subscribe,
hit that notification bell
so that you
never miss a vid.
That's right. He's Andrew Mason. Follow him on all the socials at Mace Denver. I'm at Cecil Lammey saying OBT's BFD. Thanks for watching. I want you to stay tuned, and I also want you to stay frosty, please.